Hello, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United transfer news on a Sunday morning. There is always news on a Sunday morning, and this news in some ways I would say is typical Sunday morning Manchester United transfer news when there's a big game coming up. Antoine Griezmann to Manchester United could be back on. What I would say, start of all, just to quantify the story, it's out there. It's to do with PSG, and it's to do with Oblak being linked to PSG, and we know PSG are just spending any old money and giving a big finger up to financial fair play. And Oblak has been linked to PSG. Oblak's at Atletico Madrid, and to be honest, in the week I did think this, because I've noticed a couple of Atletico Madrid players been linked with moves away, and that would sort of throw Griezmann under a big fat bus, because he said, he stayed at Atletico Madrid, if we believe the truth, what we want to believe. He stayed there because of their transfer ban, and he'd feel snaky to leave them in that situation. So if Atletico Madrid were then to sell other good players, then Griezmann would have a right to say, hold on a minute, I've sacrificed a big move, the number 7 shirt at Manchester United, to stay here and help you out, and then you go and sell our best goalkeeper. So that's where it's sort of coming from, and Griezmann, I think, has sort of said, look, if you sell anybody, then why should I stay? So that's where it's coming from. What I also would say as well is Ryan Giggs gets a little bit stick about his football knowledge, but he did say 2 months ago, I wouldn't be surprised if towards the window Griezmann deal did happen with Manchester United. I think the reality is, what you've got to know about the Griezmann deal is it's relatively simple. He was going to come to Manchester United. The transfer ban for Atletico Madrid was upheld, and he decided to stay because they paid him a lot more money. But what they didn't do is increase the transfer buyout clause, which is around 90 million, which is what we were going to pay anyway. So if Griezmann gives United or anybody else the thumbs up and says, right, you know what, I want to leave, you pay 90 million and it's by Atletico Madrid. They didn't increase the buyout clause. So if Griezmann changes his mind, Atletico Madrid have got nowhere to stand, and I think maybe there's a little bit of Griezmann at the moment that's thinking, I wish I'd gone to Manchester United, this was a bad choice. 2 months further on, season starts, reality bites, number 7's free. Maybe he's thinking, I wish I'd gone, and I think what he needs is an excuse to go, and maybe that Oblak going to PSG could be that thing for him to go, look, you've gone against the agreement we have. Do I think it will happen? Probably not. Would I like it to happen? Look, you know what, I was very angry at the time, but I do like Griezmann, and I think he was the perfect number 7 for Manchester United. £90 million as well in this market. I think at the start of the summer we were like, 90 million for Griezmann's a lot of money. I think we're now like, 90 million for Griezmann is an absolute bargain in this transfer market. I mean, we paid 75 for Lukaku, you get Griezmann for 15 more, and Griezmann came 3rd in the Ballon d'Or. So of course we would do it, but the understanding is there has been no increase in relation to his buyout clause. Damien Wilson says the buyout is 200 million for this summer. It goes back. I've not heard anything at all about that, Damien, at all. It was always 90 million, and there we go. Few people, look, you know what? If you don't want to watch Manchester United transfer news, maybe you're not a Manchester United fan, don't watch it. This is you were all moaning about sources yesterday. The source is out there. I think it's just type Antoine Griezmann Manchester United. It's all over the news. I would agree that it's probably Manchester United transfer news that you typically get from the Sunday papers, and it's been like that for years. But is it far-fetched? No, I don't think it is. Do I think it will happen? No, I don't think it will. But could it happen? Yes. And I think Atletico Madrid have got to be very, very careful. They've got to honour the reason that Griezmann stayed, and that means selling nobody. So we'll see what happens to that. In all honesty, 10 minutes before I went live, that wasn't going to be the substance of the show. It changed 10 minutes ago. The release clause has stayed the same. Don't listen to that 200 million. It's not 191 million. The release clause didn't change. And the reason I know the release clause didn't change from Griezmann, because that was one of the big things I and many people had a problem with, is that he took United down the garden path and then slams the gate on us. But then he came out and said, look, no, I just felt that I had to stay at Atletico Madrid while they had the transfer ban. He would have been a total snake if he doubled up the transfer buyout clause, which he didn't. He got a massive pay rise. He didn't increase the buyout clause because he wants to leave Atletico Madrid in a year. He's staying out of loyalty, according to him. So that's the situation with Griezmann. Atletico Madrid, he could have walked away from Atletico Madrid. They gave him a big pay rise. He wasn't about to sign a new buyout clause for them. I was going to talk about Perisic. That's what the show was going to be all about. People are going to go, oh no, oh no. But no, Perisic, Manchester United, it was last night actually. It was after we'd finished the Saturday night show. Manchester United going to go back in for Perisic apparently this week. I've been saying for the last 2 weeks since, well, when was it Mourinho said that we weren't in for Perisic anymore? It was about a week and a half ago. I've been saying for a week and a half. Everyone says, well, what do you think? And I said, I believe we'll go back in for Perisic, and I think we'll pay the price that Inter want. It's just whether Perisic wants to come. Inter Milan manager has said that he believes that Perisic wants to stay at Inter, which is interesting because the rumour had always been that Perisic wants to come to United. So that could be a stumbling block. There's no point trying to buy a player who doesn't want to leave, but I think he does want to come to United, and I think it's about Inter Milan getting the right price for him. So United back in for Perisic. You know, nobody's told me it. I just think it's logical. I've been saying it for a week and a half, even though Mourinho said the deal was over, because who else is there? Perisic was his first choice as that wing position. Who else is there who has all the attributes he has, who is available? There isn't really anybody, and it's a big step down. I mean, we're linked to like a Fiorentina 19-year-old who played well in the Italian under-21 side in the tournament in the summer, and Chelsea want him as well. What? Just nonsense, absolutely nonsense. We've already got a very young player who can play out there, and Mourinho doesn't want to trust him in Anthony Martial. He's not going to go and sign a 19-year-old from Fiorentina. We are going to get somebody of experience, and I believe it will be Perisic. And I do think we'll probably get Aurier as well. I think that's the way it's going if we can get the working permit. So Perisic will come, says Louise O'Donoghue. My daddy's bold. I don't want him. I think Perisic, if and when we do sign him, he is going to be another player very similar to Matic, very similar to Lukaku, and in some ways similar to Lindelof, in where our support are not totally united behind the signing and they have concerns. On this one, I want Perisic. I've wanted him all summer. I think he's got exactly the sort of attributes we need, but I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say I don't understand people's concern or not wanting him, because I had the same concerns about Matic and to a lesser extent Lukaku. And I think I'm probably going to get proved wrong on Matic. I hope I am as well. But in relation to Perisic, if you're against him, I'm for him. And I hope that he does prove you wrong if we get him, and I think he will do. I think he'll be a very good player for United. He reminds me of a sort of a Kanchelskis of the past signing, or a Herrera or a Valencia. You know, not the Galactico signing, but I think in a short period of time he'll become a sort of cult hero at Old Trafford and with United fans. So I hope we can get that Perisic deal done this week. If we get Aurier as well, or even Fabinho, then I would be happy to close the door on this mad transfer window and crack on with our season, which starts today at 4 o'clock against West Ham. We'll be live at 3 o'clock with the team news right the way through till full time. Very excited about it. It is a massive day for Manchester United. We cannot walk out of the game tonight with a draw or even worse, a loss against teams that we need to beat at Old Trafford. It is such a symbolic 90 minutes. It encapsulates all the problems of last season in our first game of this season, and we need to start it in the right way. We've got to win this game. I'm hoping we're going to win it 3 or 4-0. If we win it 1-0, then I don't care. We've got to get the 3 points today. We've grinded out results with Mourinho before, but in all honesty, West Ham are a bit threadbare. They've got a lot of injuries to people like Antonio, who's a big player for them. Yes, they've got Chicharito, but there's a lot of their players out. They are at Old Trafford. We should get at them in an attacking formation. I would go 3-5-2. Whether he'll do that or not, I don't know. And let the first half an hour is key. Let's start making Old Trafford intimidating again, because on top of all the bad results we had last year, we also gave everyone a free ticket in the first half an hour every time they come to Old Trafford to sort of settle in. That never used to happen at Old Trafford. Get the game done in the first half an hour, or at least put them on the back foot and terrify them. Get the crowd up, get down the wings, get in the box, get men in the box, get some shots on target, and let's intimidate them like we used to. Don't let teams come to somewhere like Old Trafford and, you know, play their way into a game. And we allowed that to happen way too much. We've got to dictate the play, and I think if we do that, then we win the game comfortably. Griezmann, a few people are saying, what you on about? Look, it's there. If Atletico Madrid dare to sell a player this summer, I think they've got a problem and Griezmann might walk. And Atletico Madrid cannot stop Griezmann walking. The buyout clause is a buyout clause. Look what happened with Neymar. Barcelona were powerless. I think Manchester United and maybe a couple of other clubs as well have said, look, there's 90 million. Griezmann, do you want to come? And he says no. So that's where it is at the moment. Fortunes wanted Fabinho to Manchester United all summer, like many of us have. Make Old Trafford a fortress again, says Minnie. Yes, definitely. 1-0 West Ham, says Adam Wilkinson. Griezmann or Sanchez, who would you choose, says Gavin Mendonça. I'd be absolutely ecstatic with any of them, but I would go with Griezmann. James B says we haven't played a game yet. We don't know what's going to happen. We'll see what happens with that. And how will Griezmann adjust in a 3-5-2 formation, says Maz TV. Well, look, we've got to sign him first, of which I've got to say I don't think we will. I think it's paper talk. It's not out beyond the realms of possibility, but I don't think we will. But in a 3-5-2 formation, if I've got one here, I should have. I normally do. There we go. That's not a very good 3-5-2. That's not really how we play it, to be honest. Well, we sort of do. Rashford would drop off more closer to Pogba, so that's where Griezmann would go, in that Rashford position. The Mkhitaryan role at the moment, so he would just drop off there. I mean, this is an old one. This is when I thought we were going to get Morata. Perisic is there. So yeah, Morata would obviously be Lukaku. Matic is Matic and not Matic stroke Dyer. You've got Perisic and Valencia bombing down the flanks, and Rashford would be Griezmann. Or Mkhitaryan if we don't get anyone in that position. So yeah, I think 3-5-2 was always pretty much built around Griezmann would have settled into it far better than he would have done in a 4-3-3. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Quick whirlwind tour of the United transfer news. Michael Shout says it ain't happening. Well, you know, Michael, maybe do your own video and you can tell us all about why it's not going to happen. I'm just feeding the news to you. We've done it all summer for 3 months, and we're just feeding it out to you. Kieran Brown says you haven't predicted one correct. I don't know what you're on about. Well, you're wrong, Kieran, because Lindelof, a week and a half when nobody was talking about it, I said it was done because somebody told us. So we got Lindelof. Didn't get Lukaku. Who did? Didn't get... Well, I think I did predict Matic because I didn't want it at the time. Perisic. Been saying for a long time we'll get Perisic, and I still believe we will. But to be honest, I don't judge the United Stand on getting transfer news right. We're not called Manchester United #1 source on Twitter. We're called the United Stand, Manchester United fan community channel. And I think in relation to that, you do a very good job at making this channel what it is, which is a fan community channel. So I'm happy with that. If we get some transfer news right, great. If we're reporting on what's in the papers, which we are this morning, then, you know, we're not making it up. We don't make it up. That's not how we do it. Thanks everybody for watching. I shall speak to you at 3 o'clock with the team news and the watch along. Finally, we can sort of avoid transfer news for a little bit and watch some football games. And it's the big game. It's a Premier League game. So we're live at 3 o'clock. Thanks everybody for watching now. See you at 3 o'clock. Don't forget, tonight at 8 o'clock is Sunday Night Live. That's going to be interesting. We're either going to be very, very happy, or we're going to be melting down at the problems we haven't solved from last season. Let's see what happens. Please remember to drop a like on the video if you enjoy the United Stand, and if we will see you at 3 o'clock. Let's see what's going to happen. 4 o'clock kickoff, Finley.